We have vitamins, minerals which are required for our everyday. We function good when we have good vitamins functioning in us and minerals functioning in us, where we will have to have good health to have fight disease. We have a logo which helps people to identify, which is plus F, which says Sampurna Poshan Swasth Jeevan. And this has been very clearly kept for wide awareness for the public to choose the products when they go for purchasing grocery and things like that. So they can look at the packets, and if it is a plus F logo, that means it's a tested product and also has been passed a QC and has come into the market. Food defines our health. We all know that because food is a major part of our life. Everybody has to have minimal 2 meals a day. When I say minimal, I'm talking of all the people who are lying at the borders of our country and who are also sometimes not able to access certain amount of food. So it's important to understand what are we consuming on a regular and a daily basis. We need to understand how good are we eating, and most of our diets are high in cereals because some parts of the country takes wheat, some part takes rice, other parts and other consumables which we have, like in common where people consume maize, pearl millets, which we call as jowar and bajri, and these are common food items which people are consuming. But we have a diet which are very high in cereals, and they give more of carbohydrates or simple sugars for the daily life. So some of the realities which we go through are not very encouraging. We have vitamins, minerals which are required for our everyday. We function good when we have good vitamins functioning in us and minerals functioning in us, where we will have to have good health to have fight disease. And especially India being a very high burden country with anemia, vitamin A, vitamin D deficiencies, iodine deficiencies, etc. Simple diets and staple foods with low consumption of fruits, vegetables, etc. cause a major concern for the public. And these are some of the things which we need to understand, that we need to have these as regular items and we need to consume them in good quantities. Now, therefore, everybody is sometimes not afford to buy those. Sometimes people can take them, sometimes they cannot. Sometimes markets are available, sometimes markets are disrupted. So, in the year 2013, the former president, with due respect to him, former prime minister, with due respect to him, Dr. Manmohan Singh introduced the Food Nutrition Security Act in the year 2013, wherein all the people could have some meal with vitamins, minerals, and food security per se was being addressed. When you look at the nutrition and the health indicators, you will see that children less than 5 years are being stunted. So what is stunting is they won't grow in height as per their age, which is 38% of our population. Children less than 5 who are wasted, which is weight for height, that means they are growing tall but they are not gaining enough weight, which is 21%, and underweight, which is 35%. 6 to 59 months are very young children, babies who are anemic, so we count their anemia on cutoff at 11%, 11 grams per dl of the hemoglobin, and that is coming about 58% of the children. Non-pregnant women 53%, pregnant women 50%. Actually, if you look at the current data, the pregnant women are on 56 and 59%. So it was a big concern for the government how to address this. We are talking of hunger, food, malnutrition, so many forms which we need to address was coming through in. So we looked at it, and hunger and malnutrition were going hand in hand. They would affect us intellectually, physically, and thus leading to compromised health and survival. There are various diseases. So there were poor cognitive and learning abilities, low achievement in school, low productivity among the population. All this usually happens when there is malnourishment due to minerals, vitamins, as well as the food which comes in. And these low productivity are affecting the GDP as per the investment of a person is concerned. And these are some of the things which are right away from the mother's womb, and we can address them. They are preventable, and therefore we need to put in all the efforts to take it up. So the need for fortification arose when we have, you can see the pictures very clearly, we have enough quantity but not enough quality, where you can see the children wasting and stunting happening in both the cases. So micronutrient deficiencies which are irreversible but they are not taken care will have always some kind of an adverse impact on children who are on their growth stages. So every second child is being undernourished when they are sent to school. We do have certain programs for them now. Government has played a lot of initiatives, and thus food fortification was thought of as a strategy. And the government took the initiatives right from 2014. Discussions went on in 2015. Meetings were called with various ministries, public forums to address these issues, get suggestions. And thus the government took a decision that we will go for staple food fortification, which is being considered by which is having access through the public distribution system and can be considered for reaching out into the masses. So let me talk on what is food fortification. So when I say staple foods, I would like to mean very specifically rice and wheat, because the country is on the major consumption of rice and wheat. So we add micronutrients and vitamins in these staple foods. They are quite effective as far as cost is concerned. They are scalable, and also they are a sustainable solution. They are a cause of action where we can have the prevention measures advocated, and they are widely accepted. They do not change odor, taste of the food, etc. And thus people wouldn't be affected majorly by these issues. So these would address iron deficiency anemia, iodine deficiency anemia. So we add certain micronutrients. So as per the Government of India's guidelines, we have fortification of wheat flour under ICDS, which is Integrated Child Development Service, where our children go to Anganwadis and they are given the food which are based on these. And MDM, which is also known as PM Poshan, which is catered to all the school children as one meal, which will have 9 micronutrients in them, which are all named here. And these micronutrients are calculated per 50 grams, and we make a calculation by the meal which is provided per child, how much they consume, and so that it gets to them in the required amount. These are calculated on a regular dietary basis, as much as each children would consume, and that is in 3 divisions of the age group which is calculated. The other initiative was to have distribution of iodized salt through the public distribution system, and iodized salt has seen a good success right from 2006 when we started iodizing. Now you don't see any kind of goiters which are precipitating, except for very, very high hilly regions where more of goitrogens are precipitated. That is because everybody is consuming iodized salt. We have a mandate by government from 2006, and that has been implemented very clearly. All livestock and human consumption salt are iodized, and this program brought in a good control on iodine deficiency disorders, which reduced stillbirth, abortions, low birth weight babies, and prevention of irregular damages which are happening to the neural system, the brain system, retardation of the mental abilities, etc. And that improved school performances of children by 13 IQ points. So these were some of the benefits which we understood. So in Gujarat itself, we had a tribal sub-plan with the state government. They purchased the salt and they would procure it and they would distribute it through various systems, and especially to various tribal districts, because the reachability is very less for them. And they supplied at a rate of 1 rupee per kg. So government bears the cost of these. These are subsidized rates which are given to them. And so the subsidy is about, say, 1.46 per kg, which is borne by the state government. So these were some of the encouraging things which have been observed, and that's why the government took certain initiatives to go for further the fortification program to address the masses, because for the rich and the poor it will be available in equal amounts. Based on the nutrition security analysis in India in 2019, we understood three dimensions of food security was availability, access, and utilization, and the outcome of these concerns. So we had made certain attention to the food baskets which we are providing. Especially, we made certain hampers for the mother who comes and registers in an Anganwadi as soon as she is pregnant, and we give her double fortified salt, vitamins, minerals, tablets to address iron deficiency, etc. So these were one of the kind of approaches which has been done. And diversification on fortification and dietary diversification we carried out, asking the mothers to also consume a lot of vegetables and fruits as much as they can consume. And that also created a lot of impact with people going across and continuing with their regular dietary habits. So not only that they consume fortified food staples, but also they should consume locally available foods so that it balances we call it as food matrix, it balances the absorption as well as the intake of vitamins and minerals. So this is a gist of what the FSSAI has mandated as an order, with iron in whether it is in wheat or rice or in salt, to come up to 850 to 1100 mg, iodine 15 micrograms for the consumption, vitamin A as 6 μg, and if it is in a retinol form 9.9 μg is what we ask. Vitamin D, which we have been used as plant sources, milk, then wheat flour and rice. Now altogether of these 5 major products, we can add on zinc, vitamin A, thiamine, riboflavin, etc. if we see B vitamin deficiency in the population. And therefore, we had good amount of resources to do this, and we also took care that we are doing this by using all vegetarian sources, and that has been a very big success. Initially, we had troubles in setting this up and doing the technology transfer and making it to the manufacturers, to train them, to address the FDCA officials, how to test them, how to improve them. All these things have been taken care, and FSSAI did a good quality assurance, quality control along with the public distribution system, and that's how these came into practice, and it got gazetted in the year 2018. So this was the gazette which has been given. The gazette very clearly had the regulations where it had ranges given, minimum and maximum for micronutrients, and the levels have been adjusted to give 30 to 50% of a person's regular dietary allowance. The rest we want people to consume the local foods. Then we had bioavailable sources of nutrients which are added for the iron absorption. Only plant sources were used for vitamin D. And Vanaspati, which is high in fat. We are country now having lot of non-communicable disease, and especially younger generation having more of heart ailments and things. So we have removed the high fat content from the whole process, and Vanaspati has been removed for the fortification. And all these were to be mandated by 1st July 2019, and that's how we have been taking things into consideration. So we have a logo which helps people to identify, which is +F, which says Sampurna Poshan Swasth Jeevan. And this has been very clearly kept for wide awareness for the public to choose the products when they go for purchasing grocery and things like that. So they can look at the packets, and if it is a +F logo, that means it's a tested product and also has been passed a QC and has come into the market. So the major concern which we had were vitamin A, which helps us to prevent night blindness, D, which supports strong bones, iron fighting anemia, folic acid important for fetal development when the baby is in the womb itself, B12 for better nervous system development, and iodine for normal growth and not to have stunting or any other issues with thyroid which affects the baby in the womb itself. So we had milk, oil, rice and wheat flour, double fortified salt, as general commodities which would come through the public distribution system or through the major food safety net programs, which are the ICDS and the MDM programs. So these are just giving you an idea how the directives have been used by Ministry of Human Resource Development. In 2011 was the first order which came that we should be starting to use some of these products in the PM Poshan program, which used to be called as the midday meal program. And in 2017, there were some more addition to that with mandatory wheat flour oil and double fortified salt, which has been given by the ministry to all the states in India. We also had Ministry of Women and Child Development talking about the same in 2011 and 2017, and again in 2019, emphasizing the need because the children who were in the Anganwadi were the ones which were most affected, and thus they were to get into the system. So further, what we would see was in the public distribution system, things came up from 2016 onwards, where first we addressed the food security and then we went for the nutrition security per se. And in 2019, we had the orders issued for them also. And so this was taken up by the Ministry of Health as a concern. As I said, various meetings and discussions happened, and all the gazettes were put up for public comments for 3 months at the Ministry of Health website. And all comments were taken into serious consideration before these were all implemented. So we also had, the government has various partners, and these partners are the ones which would take up, because they would be NGOs which would be working, they would be international as well as local NGOs. So each partner has put in a lot of effort along with the government to bring this up. So we had DFS, wheat flour, etc. by Tata Trust, GAIN, World Food Program, WFP, PATH, Nutrition International, etc. So these were the major involvement of those people, and along with the funding which came from the World Bank, because any program to be run, we need funds, and the World Bank agreed to fund the programs to launch certain things in India at that point of time. So looking at the cost, how much was the cost which was coming to the government, how much they could bear. So for MDM and ICDS, with rice was coming for 30 to 40 paise, wheat flour 8 to 10 paise, oil 10 to 12 paise, DFS 2 to 3, and milk less than 2 paise. These calculations are based in 2018, and this has now slightly increased a little bit more, but the cost is not very high for the government, and at the same time the masses are being addressed with the benefits. Now we are also started seeing some of the results. So there, as I said, these were easy to scale up. So whenever we run a program, we need to scale up those programs, and that is how we run through the program as a betterment for the public. So we have the MHRD allocation of food grains to the FCI, and also from the FCI it goes to the public distribution dealers and the FPS, which we call as the local areas in the villages. We have FPS shops, which are fair price shops, which are where we call it as a simple ration shop, where people can purchase things. And so we had certain good advantages. From the FCI godowns, we had blending units for fortification of wheat and rice, and then there could be a cooperative or a miller who was involved at a local level. And from the PDS dealer to the FPS, we had another option. Again, we can use some of the SHGs who are having centralized kitchen or centralized system in a local level. And from the FPS to the schools, we had the procurement done through the open market system or by having the vending done by the government. This was a possibility which we addressed, so that also it creates employment for people, and it also helps in developing business for the local people out over there. This very similar workout was carried out for ICDS also, with very similar options, but ICDS had the SHGs for specifically preparing the food products for children, because in MDM we were talking of only one meal, but with small children under 5, we were talking of meals in the morning, in the afternoon, and also a take home in the around 3 o'clock the children leave, and if so, they would take home something as a kind of a mini snack. So for them, there were certain additional provisions which were made, and that were to have hot cooked meals and also have dry meals when they go home. So these shelf life, quality issues, quality assurance, all these are completely taken care, and the government took those initiatives to run these programs. So some of the products which we have currently is these food products in the market. So we also give these as kind of advertisements to people on the website. If you go and see, all these products and the details of these products are available on the website. So there is salt, there is wheat, there is rice, oil and milk, which is available in the public market also, apart from the public distribution system, so that the people can have choice and have their consumption. Awareness is given to everybody. We are a democratic country. We can ask people to have some of these. It can help them to improve their regular mineral vitamin intakes. We are not forcing anybody and not saying that they have to eat, but we give that awareness. If they eat, how good it is and how good the next generation will be becoming better, especially when it is consumed by a pregnant mother. So we have Food Fortification Resources Center in FSSAI office. When you look at the website, at each one you can understand more details, and a lot of information is given about all the products which have been fortified, or all the programs by which the government is running it, and continuously we keep updating these with a lot of inputs as and when things are coming. A lot of questions do come from various corners of our own country, also sometimes from outside the country, and these are continuously addressed by a team of technical officers at the Food Fortification Center. So we were not very new to fortification. We started fortification in 1930s, where an organization called as PATH had started looking at provision of rice especially, and from then onwards we had up and down. Any program keeps going up and down sometimes, and we had certain up and downs in these programs also. As I said, iodized salt, the work was started in India in 1962, and that also went on up and down for some time. So the FFRC, what they do is they provide technical assistance, and the technical assistance where they can have advocacy materials, fortified food products protocols which are developed, assurance which has been addressed, and then procurement assistance. Suppose if you want to tender them or take it from certain manufacturers, then help and support is available. We do train and build capacities of various food safety officers, regulatory staff. We have now 240 accredited labs across India. Anybody can pick a sample from the market or a public distribution system and go there and give it for checking. They can understand how much iron and other minerals are there in that. All that is a very open system which is available now. The support service, again, we have is completely linked with all the states, and state FDCA offices are also trained. Supply chain mapping is also a very big process, where it has been completely now, or I would like to say, geotagged, right from where a truck moves from the fair price shop, from the district office to the fair price shop. And then the people do receive messages on their mobiles that their commodity has arrived and they can go. So the supply chain mapping also has been completely now digitized very well, and great accolades to the Prime Minister for taking those initiatives are there. We also have monitoring and evaluation as a continuous process, and every 2 years we do keep collecting those data to analyze and see whether to strengthen the program or the program is running good or bad, and then certain actions and measures are taken. A lot of communication and support has been done. So any program, when we start, the public needs to understand about it. So newspaper media, audio media and visual media, both are used. Print and media people may not access so much in villages, so we put hoarding, we put pictures, because people look at the pictures and try to understand more. And those, a lot of radio spots, video spots are developed by the office, and they communicate across. And each state has an IEC office, that is educational materials which we provide to them. They use them for training and they support them. So we have social media awareness which has been created, asking the people to have look for the +F logo. know your micronutrients, natural and synthetic vitamins, what are the differences, how is it used. We have various workshops, labs which are conducted. Some social media inputs are always generated as soon as a program is done, so that people are aware and people are immediately updated on them. We also had the opportunity to involve certain celebrities, because the common public listens to a lot of celebrities than to various scientists or researchers who are working or in the field areas. So we had Ms. Sakshi Kanwar, who is a very known figure, especially with mothers, because they do watch the serials whenever they get the time. And so we asked her to vouch for having the logo of Plus F to be fortified. And we started with the oil, because no family will ever cook without oil. So we started with that with her. And we have 40 seconds, 60 seconds English and Hindi videos and YouTube links to where public can access them. And we currently also moved to Eat Right movement, where we don't want people to consume more oil, sugar or fat. We want them to have less of them. So we have Mr. Rajkumar and Mr. Virat Kohli talking to us with a sign like taking less. So they put this kind of a sign and say that namak, chini, tel kam khaye. So that was a big campaign which we did through schools in India, colleges, universities, because we wanted children to be sensitized on that, and then public forums were conducted on the same. So various foods can be fortified, and there were criteria for selection of various food products where people are consuming it. So universal consumption, where wheat, rice, oil, salt and milk are consumed by one and all. Diets which were cereal based, and especially rice, which was consumed by 70 to 90% of our population. The population is therefore entirely covered. We have constant amounts which can meet their regular daily allowances. As I said, we want 30 to 50% of their allowances to be taken care of, and the rest to come. So that 30 to 50 is like taking into account of 1/3 of what they consume, and the rest 2/3 we want them to consume from the local vegetables and food which they can afford to. No change in quality, no change in color, taste, etc. It's a centralized processing system, and then it goes to various distribution channels. So the benefits are regular consumption. Fortified staples help to meet 25 to 30% of our requirements. Highly acceptable by consumers, high bioavailability. So when I say bioavailability, after the food is digested, for getting absorption better, the micronutrients are absorbed better through the food system itself, and that is where it is blended with the food. And regular consumption would bring better health and will not require a big behavior change in the pattern of consumption with the common public. Strategies for prevention of all these deficiencies. It's a proven strategy, low cost. The technology did not cost much. The technology has been transferred now to India quite well. And we have iron, folic acid, vitamin B12, etc. now blended into our foods. Consistent delivery, rapid impact, you see, safety in low daily doses. We are consuming them in less quantities and low dosages, so that we don't have any vitamin or iron toxicity which can develop. Minimal behavior change. So this helps us to enhance our performance completely. Daily performance. Everyone has to function minimum 8 hours daily in a very systematic fashion, so that does not get hampered on our work, and that is being addressed. So these are some of the kits which we have been going for various campaigns. These are from various parts of India. So let us eat right. Let us join hands to have a good fortification system running and benefiting our future generation of children. Click across, please. So let us eat right. Let us eat fortified. So we will have improved quality for one and all. So these are some of the campaign materials which we make. This is in Gujarati language. This is from Gujarat. I just got this just 2 days back. So this is fortified rice. We can see the Plessef logo on that, and people can identify them. So we are talking about that. And the womb is shown to understand where it's affecting the baby's growth in a betterment. And iron as double fortified, showing the Shakti logo which is there. We also have one for the salt, and thus it's been considered. That was, yes. So in Gujarat, it is coming in the name of Kalpataru and Sattva. There are two varieties given for pregnant mothers. We wanted to go a little low in sodium, but betterment in iron, iodine, and potassium for their welfare.